Hi there.
Hi, how are you?
Thank you.
Did you have a good bank holiday?
Oh, the weather was amazing, wasn't it?
It was lovely
Absolutely.
weather, wasn't it?
It just makes everybody smile, doesn't it, when the weather
Yeah,
comes up?
yeah, because the weather was really bad, wasn't it?
Oh, it's been a shocker, hasn't it? Been an absolute shocker. So how about you?
Traditional UK. Yeah, no, I'm doing good, thank you. Thank you for so much for taking the time out to speak with me today. Am I okay to just jump in?
Go for it.
Yeah, okay. Would you like to just quickly introduce yourself to our listeners?
So hi, I'm Jemima Bird. I run my own brand and marketing consultancy called Hello Finch, but I'm passionate about sport and I'm also the co-founder of a great young charity called Park Play, which I'm sure we'll talk about a little bit more later. And I'm a senior trustee for the Football Foundation as well.
Awesome. So how did you first get into sports, and what is your relationship? What has your relationship been with it up until now?
I've been really lucky in terms of how I fell in love with sports from a very young age. My parents are, it's not so much that they're hugely sporty, but they love the idea of sport. And they came from a classic sort of northern working class sort of pit village. And my dad went to grammar school and he saw this world where there was all these other fantastic sports that he'd never even heard of as a lad from a pit village that were available to him. So when they had me, they were very keen to get me to try every single sport that I wanted to. So it didn't matter what I'd come home with and say, you know, there's lacrosse here or there's tennis here.
Oh, nice.
I got the opportunity to play with all of them. And so from being a young age, you know, I was in the swimming team, I was Devon judo champion, I
saw that.
you know, became really passionate about athletics and ran at county level and did the same for netball and hockey. And so I've just had this whole world of, I guess, fun of being able to try different things. And most last year I got really into running, you know, like a rebound back from my childhood, really.
Yeah. What was judo like? 'Cause I've never actually done that myself.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So my mum was really keen. My mum's like one of the original girl power type ladies.
Nice.
Really, she's quite you know.
We need more of that.
We definitely do. Yeah, my mum and dad. My mum was 12, my dad was 14, and when my dad was 21 and mum was 19, he was out in Singapore, and she said, "Oh, you're getting on a plane and coming. Here's a diamond ring and a plane ticket. Are you coming out?" And off she did. Sort of like got on. So I kind of like the feistiness, and there's a lot of me in that. And what she wanted with judo was she didn't want me to do a sport like, say, karate, that was all about physical. I mean, it's a brilliant sport, is karate, but very physical sport that's very dynamic and not about the hitting, but just dynamic in terms of movement and aggression. And she'd found that judo, I guess from a little bit from her being out in Singapore and in the Far East, that there was a lot of thought went into it. You had to look at the strategy of the gameplay. So how did you approach your target? How did you find their weakness? And a bit like chess, how do you play 3 moves in front to get them to make a mistake? So it's a very physical sport, absolutely fantastic to watch when you see it on TV.
Yeah, so you got the nice balance of tactical, I guess, haven't you?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah. So, and she, you know, said I'll always be able to look after myself if I could do judo, because I'd second guess the move.
It's always good. Always comes in handy. You never know.
Yes.
Also, you have participated in the World Marathon Majors. I think I said that correctly. And you've done 5 out of 6 races, haven't you, so far?
Yeah, right. I mean, it's a fantastic thing. Is World Marathon Majors. So there's 6 World Marathon Majors that the elites compete in. So Eliud Kipchoge, you know, etc. You know, Paula Radcliffe, and that is so London, New York, Chicago, Boston, Berlin, and Tokyo, and they are like the elite marathons to win. And Abbott's, who are a global sort of health company, became their title sponsor, and part of their ambition was to make running accessible to all, make these majors accessible to all. And so they created this thing called the World Marathon Major 6-star finisher medal. And if you run all 6, you get this extra you get an extra medal on when you've completed your 6, which is a little mini medal of all the other 6 marathons.
Oh, lovely.
and it's really cool. You know, there's more people still, or there's been more summits of Everest than people who've got a World Marathon major finisher medal. So there's still only about 7,000-ish people. I think 8,000 summits of Everest. So I just think it'd be quite a cool thing to do.
Yeah. What was your favourite race?
London was amazing because it's your home marathon, and the weather was astonishing. I mean, it was ridiculously hot. It was the
That's always
marathon.
helpful.
It's just like, oh my goodness, you know, how hot can it be? But the crowds were astonishing. It was really emotional to run London. So yeah, I'd say London, but then New York is just fantastic. You're running through all 5 boroughs, which is brilliant, and it's like one big party, and they all try and outdo themselves. You go to Queens, and then you've got a different vibe going on to, you know, what you've got down in Manhattan. It's really cool. So that's all quite fun. They're all different, but they've all got something about them. And Boston is, I guess, you have to qualify to get into Boston with a time.
Right. Okay.
It feels quite special to have done that and to run a marathon. Yeah, I mean, they literally bus you out to the big early doors, 26 miles outside of Boston, and then tell you to run back in. So that's quite good fun as well.
Yeah. How did you find out about that? And what was it that motivated you to get involved?
Quite funny, really. I think I stumbled across it. I'm addicted to, you know, different people on Instagram who have got great running accounts, and
I love Instagram for that. Yeah,
absolutely. It's great, and it's a community of, you know, very supportive. And I spotted this thing, World Marathon Majors, and I sort of looked into it. Oh, this is lovely. You know, runners love a bit of bling after finishing the race. And I convinced my husband and two other friends who we run with to say, shall we get after this and try and do it? And
awesome.
You've got to be. It's difficult to do because they're all around the world, and therefore I'm very conscious that I'm fortunate enough that, you know, I'm in a position where I can afford to go and run marathons around the world. But it's brilliant, and I think it's a lovely idea, and it makes something special achievable for just the everyday runner. Yeah,
and when you do achieve it, hopefully, fingers crossed. What do you think you'll get from that afterwards? What do you think you'll feel?
Yeah, you know, I think just sort of pride and just a sense of achievement, really. There's not many things you can do anymore, is there? That you know, that's a real achievement thing. We can all get what we want when we want it within reason. But this feels like it's quite a challenge. It's quite a, you know, you can't just rock up and do it. You've got to put the training in. You've got to put the commitment in. You know, we've done a couple in a year, but generally you're talking 4 to 6 years to sensibly do it. So even if you're doing one a year, that's 6 years. You can do them. In the main, it's going to take you a good number of years to do it, and that feels like a real commitment to a journey. So I think that's that sense of achievement, and it'll just be so lovely to be able to do that with my husband and 2 of my great mates as well.
Yeah, it'd be a great bonding experience for sure.
Yeah, we've had some great fun. I mean, and there's been, you know, we have stories to tell of, you know, every place. You know, we've had ambulance rides, we've had people not being able to walk the next day, you know, all sorts. And it's also astonishing the improvements you can make. So I'm 48, 49 this year, 50 next year.
You don't look it at all.
Estee Lauder. Lots of
lovely.
You know, I never thought I'd be able to get anywhere near breaking 3 hours for a marathon, and yet my now is I'd love to break 3 hours for the marathon by the time I'm 50 next year. My first marathon was 4:36. Now, which to some people is still a good time, but 4:36 is great. Having something with a 2 in front of it feels like a remarkable goal, and running allows you to do that if you're prepared to put the effort in. So during COVID, we've taken the time to really add into our fitness, really build in some strength. We've got ourselves a coach, and, you know, my husband's got down to 3:06 in his marathon time.
Wow.
He's 3:19. You know, my friend Sarah, she's at 3:37 now. So we've all got our own different targets of where we want to get there. Like 3, hopefully in Tokyo. I want to do that in Chicago next year, because I'm going to go back and do Chicago. So it's a lovely sense of
achievement, I think. How did you, because you said you had a coach, was it, for the training aspects?
Yeah, so we used to do, everything was online. We got a lot of online coaching. And then again, through Instagram, I came across this guy called Stephen Scullion. And he's a Northern Irish runner. He's the current Northern Ireland record holder for the marathon and the half marathon. Okay. So he's a 2:09 marathoner. He's absolutely incredible. He's going to the Olympics. He's phenomenal at what he does. And I kind of love his attitude. He's very open and honest about what it takes to be an elite athlete. He's very open about how he talks about his mental health and how running helps him manage that. And his dedication to achieving his goal of going to the Olympics and trying to be the best athlete that he can be really was inspiring. And so during the Olympics had been cancelled, he'd sort of put a message out saying, I'm not sure what to do, but I think I might do some coaching whilst I'm trying to keep myself motivated for whenever the Olympics may happen. And so I messaged him and said, we're probably not the age profile that you're looking for. However, would you consider taking 2 oldies on? And he very kindly came back and said, this would be awesome. Let's do it.
That's amazing. Wow.
And he's taken 30 minutes off both my time and Steve's time since we started coaching with him in under 12 months.
That's really impressive.
Shows, when somebody's world class, the ability for them to give you that, and so kind in the way in which they give that to you, that experience, all of their commitment to being world class, they share with the people they're coaching with. And Scully, as he's known, is he's a great guy to have on your side. Unrelenting, I should say, but I remember the first session I had with him. Steve and I, my husband, chatted and said, what's it about? And he said, well, the first question I've got to ask is, why don't you run more? And we were like, well, we run quite a bit. He's like, well, maybe we should run some more. He's like, so we've gone from running 4 days a week to 6 days a week.
Oh, and, Jesus.
Some weeks it'll be 7 and double sessions and everything. But it's great fun. And we love the process.
Yeah. Just taking you back, because you mentioned, obviously, he talks a lot about mental health. Did you see any kind of mental health benefits yourself?
Yeah, hugely. I think sport in general and activity is definitely a real help for people's mental health. And for me, running it allows me just to switch off. There's only 2 things I do where I can switch off from the world, and that's skiing, where you just literally, you're in the mountains and you forget the world. You can just completely get peace. And running for me allows me to process things in a really systematic way, because you're going out for an hour and a half, it might only be 45-minute run, but you can just process through something in your head, or needing to work something through. It gives you the time and space to be in the zone, to be able to do that. And the second part of that is I love running with my husband. I mean, he is faster than I am, but we run a lot together. That's really, really special to be able to run together and just chat through things, what we're thinking of doing, how we want to move things forward. So that's been lovely as well. So I think the mental health aspects of running and sport in general is huge. Yeah,
that must be really encouraging.
Because Scully about it. I mean, his podcast is phenomenal. He doesn't hide, he doesn't shy away from anything. And I think that lets people realize that it's okay to talk and it's okay to be feeling these things, because, hey, here's a guy who's going to the Olympics, who's world class at what he does. And he's saying, this is how I use it as a coping mechanism. So.
Yeah, just opens that discussion, doesn't it, for everyone? Yeah.
Definitely.
And for those wanting to get into marathons or just running in general, do you have any starters advice? Because I myself, I'm not typically a runner, so.
You know what? For running's a really interesting and fun thing. You have to give it about 2 weeks. Yeah.
Okay.
You give it 2 weeks, then you'll probably give it another 2 weeks. And once you get to a month, you're hooked. And I'd say go 2 to 3 times a week. And things like couch to 5K. Yeah. Utterly brilliant. Utterly amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's ongoing, isn't it?
Yeah. Just a little bit of structure. But do the run walk, run to a lamppost, walk to the next lamppost, run to a lamppost, walk to the next lamppost, and then suddenly you'll find you can run 2 lampposts. Yeah, so your fitness comes really quickly, but you can't rush it. Substitutes running to be a better runner, which sounds like a daft thing, but it's simply that. It's just the more you run, the further you can run, the further you can run, the faster you can run. Achievable goals. And park run is amazing as well. Park run, pray it comes back very quickly.
Yeah, because it has to be stopped because of COVID, right?
Yeah, it has. But everybody's welcome. You go along to park run, and you can walk at the back of the field, and somebody will walk with you, and that's amazing. They celebrate their average time to run a 5K. They celebrate it getting longer rather than shorter. Normally, people want to get it shorter, but their view is if our 5K time is getting longer for our average is a longer time, that means even more people are coming to run for the first time, and they're not as fast as the front. And I think that's a lovely ethos. And it
definitely.
But yeah, just go 2 or 3 times a week, and run, walk, run.
Awesome. And yeah, moving on into park play, can you tell us like a bit more about it and like what what people can come and do there?
The park we've seen the success of park run, and as I mentioned, I think it's a phenomenal thing what the guys there have done. But I looked at it with my partner Steve and a couple of other friends, Matt and Rick, and we noticed that lots of people don't feel that sport is for them. Maybe they were told at school they weren't very good at it wrongly, or they're not very sporty, and so people have this of the word sport. They think it's not for them. They think it's for other people do sport. It's not for me. And yet there is an activity for everybody. And so we thought, well, if we created an environment to run alongside park run, so it's at 10 o'clock after park run finishes, and come along and they can just play. Yeah. So this is not sport. This is just come and play and just move in a fun way with people of all ages, all shapes, all sizes, abilities. And we'll do things like team frisbee. Yeah. So
nice.
Or it might be quick cricket, with a big ball and a bat, or it might be a bit more of a classic rounders type game, but with the emphasis on it's just fun. Yeah. And we move up on abilities so that you kind of remove that uber positive, that uber competitive nature out of it, and it's just meant to be enjoyable. So that's the core ethos of it, is just get people meet, move, play is our ethos. Meet people, and then that helps break down isolation in communities. Move, that's got to be good for you. Play, have fun. So meet, move, play is our ethos. Alongside that, wrapping around it as we grow out, is going to the local hockey club, the tennis club, the rugby club, the football club, and saying, do you want to send some coaches down? And they can run little taster sessions so that you can go along, Abby, and think, well, I've never played tennis, but I'd like to give it a go. And you can give it, you love it. And if you love it, you might do it again next week. And then you later decide, I'm going to go along to the club on the Wednesday night, and I'm actually going to join them and play on a Wednesday. Or you may only ever just come on a Saturday and play, and that's also fine. But it gives people the opportunity to try different sports that maybe they didn't think were for them. And it's all about democratizing sport for everybody and often in harder to reach communities where perhaps, it's called park play, but their park may be a piece of, concrete in the middle of their tower block that we can do games on, and they've got a basketball court. That can host lots of different activities. So that's the ethos behind it.
It sounds really good, because I do feel like we don't have a lot of community-based sports anymore. Local council are saying no ball games for children as well and stuff. So
it drives me insane. I literally have got a mission in this world to remove no ball games allowed here from every single park in this country. It's just slightly ludicrous to me that
it really is
to encourage people to play, and particularly in a world where, if the 2020-21 has taught us anything, is moving is really important to people's health, both mental health. And surely removing signs which no board games allowed here has got to be the next step on a journey to help in the obesity crisis that we have in this country.
Definitely, yeah, because I saw a funny post earlier and it was saying the government, no ball games, government, children are never out and about, so why is that? It's like the logic.
It's a smash of, of policy, isn't it?
Yeah. And obviously, just to wrap things up, is there anything you'd like to add, or any like last minute advice for anyone wanting to get more into sports?
Yeah, I wrapping back to what I said right at the start, I recognise I had great, just amazing parents who wanted me to experience lots of different sports. But I think the first and foremost, people should just try something. Yeah. And if trying the thing that you can afford to do and is easy to do is something like running, which is the most accessible sport of all. You literally do just need a pair of trainers and some clothes to run in. Then just go and give it a go, because you'll find you may have a perception that it's not for you, or you're not welcome, or you're not fit enough to do it. People are so welcoming when they see other people active. Active people, other active people, and shape, size, ability. Nobody cares. You just cheerleading everybody else, and smile. That's all I say. If you're out there doing something, remember it's a choice, and you can smile.
Yeah.
And if
I love that. Yeah, brilliant. Well, I think that's all I needed to ask. Thank you so much for speaking with me today, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your week.
Yeah, you too, Abby. Anything else I can do to help, just give me a shout.
No worries. Awesome. Speak to you soon.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.